fathers we hear the little voices that are trekking to the Sunday schools. We are thrilled with the prospect that this future generation will indeed continue what you've started, even in our generation, to the next. It is with much joy that we find the truths that you have instructed us, disseminated through the years, formed in the lives of your people for such a time like this. It is our prayer that as we pay close attention to your words, that the directions might even become more clear for the years to come. For your acclaim, would you cause us to diminish as you increase? It is for your glory that we're gathered today. It is towards your praise. It is because of your purpose. And so remove any distraction from our hearts and from our minds and allow us to focus on the sanctity of your word. Move us towards action to fulfill your will. In Jesus' name, amen. It is said that a man is able to fly. A man is able to soar if he pays close attention to his roots. As I had the privilege to do just that after 25 years, I was able to spend Christmas in Manila, in the Philippines, with the primary objective, of course, spending Christmas with my wife's parents, ailing Dan. But internally, I was asking the Lord for an anchor for the next 10 years of pastoral work. You have a sense when you're my age that you have reached a point of no return. It's a very unusual age, 56, turning 57, where you feel that you're no longer young and you're not yet old. It feels like you are in a very unusual place, where you have an unusual inventory of mistakes, foibles, and small victories. And you have a compilation of all this, and you get a sense by which you're ready to do real ministry. And that's where I was. And when I went home to the Philippines, I was calibrating, and I was looking at my roots and asking the Lord, what am I doing in North America? Why am I in North America? And why am I not in the Philippines? And why am I in Dallas? And why am I not in some other place? Why am I at the Biblical Community Church? Those are the questions that I was battling and searching and seeking to anchor. Whenever you ask questions like those, and when you're leading a church, I suppose, the Lord will not shortchange you. There will be a clear anchor. And so I come home with a clear direction, a simple vision for the next 10 years. I joined this church in 1998. It's 1998, 2008, 2018. It's been 20 years. That's more than a teenager. So I see some of your faces. You've been with me. It's been 20 years so far, and we've seen no small miracles. We've cried together, we've wept, we've rejoiced. But through the years, we've seen the unfolding of God's work in this small but beautiful church, the Biblical Community Church. And so clear direction as we open the year, calendar is very crucial. Where do we go from here in the next 10 years? I mark it 10 years because it's 20 years is gone, so we shoot for the next decade. Where do we go from here, considering the things that have been happening in the world and in North America? In order for me not to chat and speak from the vantage point of personal opinion, we have to anchor our thoughts from God's Word. And so the best in terms of vision casting, I feel, is the book of Ephesians. Just because of all the epistles, of all the books in the Bible, it provides a very neat paradigm on how the Bible works. The Bible actually presents two parts. One, pure knowledge, which is basic doctrine, truths that will never change. They're God's truths. It's pure knowledge. That's part one. And whenever the Bible presents pure knowledge or doctrine, it always presents applied knowledge. That's part two. It's kind of like pure knowledge, kind of like you don't know how to drive a car. Your dad bought you a car, and then your dad is teaching you the basics of driving and telling you everything that you need to know about the car. So everything is pure knowledge. It's cognitive. It's all up here. So it's theoretical. You know, be able to drive, it's actually useless if all that you have is cognitive, pure knowledge. And so if your dad is wise, your dad should teach you the practicum of driving. He should sit next to you and then hand you the keys and teach you exactly how the clutch works, the brakes, the gears, and some other little details about driving. Now that's applied knowledge. And the study of the Word of God is such that there is the marriage of applied knowledge and the pure knowledge in order for this to work. And the book of Ephesians is a very good prototype for this sort of flow, because the first 3 chapters of the book of Ephesians, as you know, are all about God telling us who He is and who we are in relation to Him. These are called the pure indicatives. This is who I am and this is who you are in relation to me. Ephesians chapter 1, 2, and 3. And then it transitions to chapter 4, 5, and 6. So 3 chapters there and 3 chapters here. On chapters 4, 5, and 6, God is going to tell us, now that you know who I am, and now that you know who you are in relation to me, now pay attention, this is exactly what you need to do in order for this to bear fruit. I'd like for you to experience purposeful living and abundant life, and in order for this to work, you have to apply what you now know to be true. And so it's a very neat prototype, I take it. And so if there's any vision, either corporate or individual vision casting, I would always return to Ephesians 4 so that I won't get lost in my own thoughts, but be sure that I'm guided accordingly by divine inspiration. Very important in vision casting, that it's not your own thoughts but God's. And so I turn to Ephesians 4, and clearly, as I use these texts to provide a paradigm for the next 10 years, I find 3 important clarity aspects. The first one has something to do with manner, and if you turn with me to Ephesians 4, beginning with verse 1 and following. The first one that I'd like to direct your attention to is the matter of manner. There has to be clarity in this sort of decorum or conduct. I find that one of the important, if not the most important thing in Christianity today is what Jesus said, there is one indicator of a clear identity of who my followers are. It's not something that's mysterious. It's not something that you say. It's not something that you post on your cars. Like it's not some insignia like an ictus attached to the back of your car that would describe you as a follower of me. Or it's not a shirt. It's not a membership in some church that just because you attend this church, you are my follower. No. Jesus made clear that the clear manner by which you will be determined as a follower of Jesus is this. You are my follower, and people will know that you're my follower by one specific determination. They will know you by your love. It is a specific decorum. It's a specific character. I remember growing up in Asia that we had a subject, and it's graded, and it's called Good Manners and Right Conduct. In short, GMNRC. Do you remember those days? If you remember those days, you are my age. Somewhere around that. If you don't have a clue, you're millennial, so you're excused. And then back in the days, you're graded for GMNRC, for the conduct. And what's being said here is there's a specific grade for conduct. And what's being said here, it is this. If you're a Christian, you will actually know who the Christians are based on a clear manner. You should not be guessing. It's clear. Christians abide by a certain decorum. Why? Because it is their spiritual DNA. They can't help it. The Holy Spirit is pushing a certain standard of conduct in and through their lives. They cannot act differently. That's why when you look at Christians, you will say, I'm guessing you're a Christian. Well, you're not guessing. You're actually seeing it. Why? Because it's clear manner. And in the next 10 years, if there's anything that we'd like to major in, it is this. To make sure that every person that attends the Biblical Community Church, when you look at that person, you will say, you know what? You must be a follower of Jesus. That's the code. Now, where is that? Well, you see in verse 1, it says here, therefore I, as prisoner of the Lord, implore you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling with which you have been called. Did you see that? I'm calling you to a specific manner of conduct. So what's that specific manner? It's not even guessing game. It's actually spelled out here. And let me just narrate it. And it's self-explanatory. Actually, no need for exegesis here. No need for interpretation, because when you say this, you and I know exactly what it is. And it says here, well, here it is. This is the exact manner that's expected from a follower of Jesus, because this is exactly how they will conduct themselves. With all humility. The person is humble. With all humility. You want an example of humility? Kenosis. The humility of Christ. That's the standard. Humility. Gentleness. The gentle shepherd. See, I'd like for you to connect those two. You have a humble person, and then not only is he humble, he's gentle. I'd like for you to build that up in your head and see what kind of a person is this. And then with patience. Now, look at that. Humble, and then gentle, and then patient. Okay, now who is the epitome of patience? God. That standard is expected from us. And then showing tolerance, not just mere tolerance for the sake of tolerance, but showing tolerance for one another in love. That's an amazing brand of tolerance. It's not the kind of tolerance that is observed these days, where everyone does that which is right in his own eyes. That's not the kind of tolerance here. It's the kind of tolerance in the allowances for the character flaws of others, knowing that this is a work in progress. We're headed towards Christ-likeness anyway. So no one should be ostracized just because they're slow in their growth. So there is tolerance because we love others. Include, see the 4 things now? See, humility, gentle, patient, and then tolerance out of love. He's not yet done. Diligent to preserve the unity of the Spirit. If there's anything that this person majors in, is if this person spots anything that's divisive, people, the person is quick to remind the person, hey, we are in a bond of peace, actually. We are actually in a bond of peace. We are bond servants to peace. Now, can you imagine for a second with me? Put those in a major bullet austerizer. All those things that we shared. Come on, push the button, austerize, and comes out a person. What kind of a person is that? Would you want to live with that person next to you? I want to. If I have a person that is the epitome of all of these things that I shared with you, what a delight it is to have a person like that in my life. I would so love to be with a person like that, to meet with a person like that every single day of my life, because that person would have such a wonderful influence in my life. I would be so uplifted and edified and forced to be the best that I am. Would you? Now, the more important question is this: are you this person? Am I this person? I have been brutally asking that to myself. And I'm glad we have 10 years to work on it. 10 years, people. So, the reason I'm saying this is because there's a big difference between cognitively knowing who God is and who we are in relation to God. And we fall short, I think, in the applicational part. Do you actually have these kinds of people around you? That's the big question. And I'm not asking this only for the Biblical Community Church. I'm asking this to the church at large, because I go to churches and visit them. I just came from Manila, and it breaks my heart because I went to the Visayan region, and all that I've heard were bickerings and disunity and falling away and falling apart and divisions of all sorts, and we know that it's a bad report for Christianity today. The Biblical Community Church, in a clear manner, is called towards redemption. Are you going to join this movement to redeem the name of Christ and to redeem that impeccable character that God has reserved for those who follow Him? He's not joking. He said that this kind of character, this manner, is not a figment of your imagination. It is God's design for His followers. And if you're up to speed, if you say, right now, I'm in, it will happen. Why? Because it is your DNA. It is your spiritual DNA. Enough of what the world is trying to tell us that we are not. We are. You are very important in God's economy, because the manner by which the love of Christ will be demonstrated is no other way. There is no other person. I am looking at you now. There is no other plan. It's not going to be coursed through German shepherds. It's not going to be coursed through Labradors or little puppies or little species like this. No, it's going to be coursed through you, the people of God. This is a clear manner. They will know you by your love for each other. The DNA is on. It's ours. We better own it. Now for 10 years, we'll work on that. At least deliberately, if we have not been working on it deliberately. I join you to pray with me, because we're going to look on ways and means on how this can be crystallized in real tangible forms, so that we can have measurable quality point indexes, so that we can gently love each other, gently correct each other, if we see points where we are in need of calibration. so that we can have a clear manner that we are indeed being the kind of people that God desires us to be. That's the manner. That's the content. Number two, I'd like for you to turn again and see that, yes, we might have a clear understanding that this is the kind of behavior that God is calling us to become, but how do we do it actually? And so from manner we move to clarity of means. So there may be a clarity of manner. Yes, that's the conduct that I'm shooting for. Okay, let's see what happens in 10 years. But how do I get there? So what are the means? And I'm glad that in the passage it's disclosed. In the same passage we are given the clarity of means, and it's Trinitarian. It's Trinitarian. It's granted, the means granted by the Trinity, and it's an endowment. And I'd like to read it rather quickly. It says here, but to each one of us, grace was given according to the measure of Christ's gift. And so, he gave some as apostles, some as prophets, some as evangelists, and some as pastors, and some teachers, for the equipping of the saints, for the work of service to the building up of the body of Christ, until we all attain to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, to a mature man, to the measure of the stature which belongs to the fullness of Christ. Now that is a mouthful. But what it is not only intriguing, but thrilling. You know what's trying to say? That every person who claims to be a follower of Jesus actually received, past tense, actually received a gift. Grace gift. So we don't deserve it, but it's given to us individually. And that every person here who follows Jesus received a gift. And listen, it is not according to your preference that you want this gift, so you get it. No. It is a gift that's initiated by the Holy Trinity and based on their infinite wisdom. Listen, not on human wisdom, not based on popular survey like The Voice. No. It is based on the Trinitarian wisdom, which is infinite wisdom to the absolute max. The Trinity looks at every person who follows Jesus, and based on their infinite wisdom, they download an app, if you'd like to use that. The Trinity downloads an app that is custom made just for you, and you have that gift. And what's the basis? The basis is the measure of Christ. Don't ask me about that, because I don't know how that looks like. But it says here that Christ, the genius that he is, he knows how it is to be fully human. So based on that, he determines the measure that you get. Don't ask me how I became a pastor with the gift of exhortation. I just got it. I'm a very shy boy. Did I tell you in grade 1, first grade, my grading card read in the remarks of the teacher, Butch, dear parent, Butch is shy. First term. Second term, Butch is very, very shy. Third term, Butch is too shy. And there was no recovery whatsoever. You want me to hide in some cover and some fear, put me in front of an audience, and I would shake. But now, why do I have this? Why am I able to stand? And why am I suddenly grilled to the study of the Word? And if there's anything that's joyful in my life, it is to be able to articulate what I've studied and pass it on to people. And if they get that, I'm in cloud 9. That's my thing. I'm in cloud 9. That's my prize. If I see that you get it. And I go into a fit of depression if I'm not clear. And that's the thing. I did not make that up. It just happens because God, in His own measure, I don't know what He saw in me, but He downloaded the app and now I'm using it. You see that? Now, this is not to say that my app is better than yours, because it's according to God's measure. It means there is no qualifier. You and I cannot even say that my gift is better than yours, or mine is larger. No such thing. Because the gifts are variegated. There's a gift of helps. There's the gift of exhortation, and the gift of administration, and the gift of, and so forth and so on. The spiritual gifts that are disclosed in the epistles, in the Corinthians, and several other passages. So did you see that? That means this is exciting, because you're like a joint. You're like a major ligament. Every person here has an app. This is exciting. And you will learn later how crucial that thing is. But for now, I'd like for you to freeze that. So if you think you're not important in God's economy, come on. God thinks otherwise. You are so important. You are so important. He made sure that you have one grace gift. Now, it is not for domestic consumption, for your use, no. It is for an amazing purpose. And we'll go to that later. But I just want for you to know that the means by which we will achieve a distinctive manner or a decorum, it has something to do with your gifts. You use your gifts in the body of Christ, behavior is going to be affected. Our behavior, individually and corporately. Okay, so that's the means. And then we move to the third one. And so we have the manner. God is calling us towards a specific kind of behavior that's Christian. And then we have the means. And the means are the various gifts that were given and initiated by God. But then we move to a third one. It's called clarity in, there seems to be a problem in my clicker, problem in mechanics actually. So it's good. Yeah, there you go. Problem, the mechanics should be clear. It's okay to have a prototype of the manner. This is what I'm supposed to be, like behave, and this is how I'm going to be able to leverage it because of my spiritual gifts. But show me. I want mechanics. You know what mechanics are? It's very crucial. I was just in conversation with the good-looking drummer boy here. Who's that good-looking drummer boy? Dylan. Yeah. Anyway, Dylan. I was just in conversation. There he is! There he is! There he is. I thought you evaporated some. But Dylan is a very interesting guy. As you see, he's a multi-talented young gentleman. He not only is very good with drums, but he is a scholar, a state scholar, a world-class tennis player. And I tell you, if I play tennis against this guy, I know how tennis looks like. I do have a racket. I even have tennis shoes. Rod Laver, old school. I even have khaki pants, tennis, and I can wear a tennis shirt, and I can engage in a game, but it will be a comical match. The difference is clear. Dylan has been through the rigors of clear mechanics. He has been coached and is currently being coached by world-class tennis coaches that basically tears down the game, and in small measures he is told exactly what to do on every aspect. Bend your knees, follow through, this is what you shift, this is what you expect. It's so scientific, it's crazy. It's just a thing of beauty. You watch him play. But he's not only a good tennis player, he's a very good basketball player. It's unfair. This guy's like an all-star. And one day, I was watching him play because he was kind of like so popular in his high school days. And I was hoping that he'd pursue basketball, but he shifted to tennis. I said, oh no, we just lost a major candidate for the NBA or the PBA. But I'm not exaggerating, Dylan. That's how I think of you. But Dylan, the way he shoots the 3 points, you know, Dylan is not as tall as me. Dylan is about this high, not too short, not too tall. About this tall. Yeah, like this. Maybe a little bit like that. But this guy, when he shoots, his favorite shot is the 3 points. And I go, when I shoot the 3 points, after about 4 3 points, I feel my shoulders. And I can't shoot anymore. But when I see this guy shoot the 3, it's like nothing. And it goes in all the time. It's so sickening to watch. Because this guy like throws it, kind of like dribbles behind, and then he looks at this. He looks at the defender in his eyes, and then suddenly he alights and throws it, and it goes in. He doesn't even look at it. It goes back. So I couldn't stand it. So I talked to him. 30 minutes ago, I said, Dylan, I need this for my sermons. Tell me about the mechanics of the 3-point shot. I said, can you please instruct me? I said, because I'm an old guy, and you know, as part of my daily exercise to shoot some hoops. But tell me about the 3 points. Would you please dissect it for me? What's happening? Because you're a beast when it comes to the 3-point shot. And then he told me, so cool, you know how it is. He was drinking his milk. And then he said, Pastor, number 1, confidence. Oh, I said, confidence. Yeah, you gotta have confidence. When I throw that ball, Pastor, 100%, I assume that it's going in. Oh, okay. And what's number 2? Well, number 2 is hard work. That's when you kind of like break it down to its minute level. You know, break it down like everything, the mechanics from head to foot and the follow through and everything. You work hard on that, but I think, Pastor, he said, the most important thing is the confidence. Because that's the thing that propels it. Now I get that, Dylan, I said, because that's exactly what Christianity is all about. Because do you know that we've got everything? We've been training. But for some reasons in our environment, it is so anti-spiritual, it is so anti-Christian, that we somehow are eroded in terms of confidence. And so, although we know that we should do this, and that we should go against the grain of what's popular, we don't. You know why? Because our confidence is eroded. And we're buying into some philosophy that's not biblical. And so we lose the mechanics. And that's the reason why Ephesians is so instructive. Now this is where it's most crucial, because this is what's said in the Bible. Because of this, if you follow clear mechanics, as a result, verse 14, we are no longer to be children tossed here and there by waves and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by the trickery of men, by craftiness and deceitful scheming. But speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in all aspects into Him who is the head, even Christ, from whom the whole body, being fitted and held together by what every joint supplies, according to the proper working of each individual part, causes the growth of the body for the building up of itself in love. That is quite a sentence. And it's more complicated if you read it in Greek. But if I'm going to break it down, it boils down to 2 simple points. And I hope that you stay on with me, because if there's anything that you need to get from this sermon, it is these two things. The image is this: growth in Christianity, individually and corporately, is contingent upon the proper functioning of every individual joint, every individual ligament, every individual person who must do their part in making sure that the body of Christ flourishes. That's how crucial it is. You take one person out, let one person not do his or her part, the body suffers. Now, why do we say so? The word that is used here, that we're referring to, from the whole body being fitted, that's the first word. The whole body being fitted, the delicious Greek word is sunarmologomenon, which means to pile together, like a bunch of stones. Back in the old days, you don't have mortar. The way they fit, if they want to, erect a wall, there's no mortar. So you know how they pile stones together? They actually chisel them carefully so they fit perfectly. So do you see the image here? The work of God in our lives is such that we are actually introduced to one another, not by accident. In God's intimate, wonderful wisdom, He made sure that you and I will live together. Although probably you don't like me, or I don't like you. It doesn't matter. God likes it. Did you get this? That you attend a church and there's some people that you like and some people that you don't like. Yeah? Come on, be honest. That's part of the equation. It's like stones. Do you think the stones like each other? No. But God chisels them. And God chisels them and then sets them together. And suddenly, they're merged. And then something's being chipped on top. Ouch! Ouch! I don't like you. Why are you? And then another stone. Oh, that's good. I didn't quite understand that we can work together. But it looks like it's happening. And so it's being piled up. That's the verb. That's the beauty of the 10-year plan. Because people who do not necessarily like each other are willing to be chiseled and blended together. The problem here is if you come into a delusion of some imagination, that you come and look for a perfect church, and once you find one that you don't like, you boot out. You will never find a church that will be perfect. Welcome to the Imperfect Biblical Community Church, by the way. Because that's what it is. These are going to be stones that are going to be grinded. But I need you to grind me, and you actually need me to grind you. By the way, it's not us grinding each other. We have to allow God, in the wonderful work of the Holy Spirit, to do the grinding and the piling together. That's the first verb. The second verb is not piling. So that's one. The composition of the Biblical Community Church is not coercion. It is by way of God brought the people into the church. If you think that you were forced by someone to attend this church, think about it. It's not true. The Holy Spirit, looking at your orientation, wants you here. Don't ask me why. But you need to grind some persons here, and some persons needs to grind you here. And it's not going to happen if you get grinded somewhere else. That's how nuanced it is. That's how beautiful the local church is. That's the argument why we need to support all the local churches and pray for one another, instead of trying to, let's get them out of there and bring them here, or if you don't like me here, ship out. That's your thing. No. Life together is the code here. Life together. Let's live together And let's be comfortable even if we don't like each other, because that's not our code. Eventually, we will love each other. That's the thing. That's the key. It's not to like each other, but to love each other, which is a higher ethic, by the way. The second verb, which is from the whole body being fitted and held together. The Greek word is sumbibasomenon. It is to reconcile by knitting together. That means there's a given. You have two disparate stones. The given is this. People in church are made out of stones that are very unlike. And in order for them to be knitted together, there's a lot of work to be done. Now let's not go too far. Look at your marriages. Two disparate persons. But what's happening through the years? They're being blended together. The same way in church. You're not only being piled up together, but you are being held together by a process determined by the Trinity. And a lot of this has a lot to do with instruction from the Word. Again, pure knowledge of the Word, God's wisdom, and then applied practicum of what you know about God and how we ought to conduct ourselves. So we've got three: the clear manner, the clear means, and the clear mechanics. That means that for every person with a spiritual gift, you have a high responsibility to offer that gift for one singular purpose: to cause the body of Christ to grow in love. Now that's a delightful purpose. And by way of application, I actually have three simple ones so that this is not complicated, so it's easy to remember. Three applications. 10 years. 2018 to the next 10 years. Dream with me. Pray with me. Number one, we are called to conduct ourselves in a manner that seeks to redeem the places God assigns us to be. It's been 20 years. And there's been talk, what are we going to do? Look, we just extended that part of the church. Used to be that it's just this. Do you know that once upon a time, when I joined the church in 1998, Pastor Robert, we were 35. And then we moved to a hotel. And then God granted us this place. And that's not even part of it. We extended it. You see, there are people that are standing at the back now. And this is going to violate the fireman's code quickly. So what are we going to do? There are talks that we have an empty lot at the back. So there's been talk we need to increase probably our building size. And that's a good plan, actually. We're talking about it. But you know what I see? You know, 200 and 300 is a good number for people who are serious about Christianity, because this is good accountability. We still know each other. There's an argument for big churches. There are people who can do that. But there are people who believe, like myself, that in order for a church to be healthy, it has to be this size. So I see that the Lord is seeking to reclaim this area. That's the reason why you're here, because He wants to demonstrate the kind of character and personality that followers of Jesus have through you. But the thing is, I have a strong feeling that God wants us to plant other churches. BCC Allen, BCC Bristol, BCC McKinney, BCC Fort Worth. Get this. How about BCC Manila? Pastor, you are wild in your thoughts. Yeah, tell me that. Tell me that. Because 25 years ago, I was one of the pastors in Green Hills Christian Fellowship in Ortigas, and we were 280. And the pastor, who was formerly the pastor of this church, Dr. Luis Bantoa, became the pastor. So I was his associate. And he was dreaming wild. And he announced to the congregation one day, he said, Green Hills Christian Fellowship will be blessed. And we will have satellites in Baguio, in Cebu, in Alabang, and guess what? We will have satellites in Canada, and we were excited that we were just scratching our heads. We were saying, he's a dreamer. I just got back from Manila, and I look at the score. There are 16 satellites, and there are 4 branches in Canada. It's amazing what God does. So I can't help it. What I'm seeing is this. You know, in April 21, there will be 4 candidates to be pastors who will be presented here. There's an ordination council, and I hope they're preparing hard. Are they? We have an influx of Dallas Seminary students. I don't know why they're going and crowding at Dallas Seminary. But they want the best for God's people, and I commend them. In a little while, we will be installing rather, a wonderful addition to our staff. A new administrative pastor. Why do we need a new administrative pastor? Because we've never had a full-time administrative person. And we are going on level 2. In order for this vision 10 years to happen, there has to be a full-time administrative pastor who's going to make sure that the logistical flow of this discipleship process, our intent to be a church that means to follow and obey the Lord, the logistical aspects will be set in place. So we will be welcoming on board a wonderful person, a wonderful addition. We will welcome him shortly. And so I'd like for you to join me in not only imagining, okay, I'd like for you to percolate it in your heart. Is this vision from God? Because if it is, I need to do something about my decorum, my behavior. I have to set it straight because I have the spiritual DNA. I will be the main attraction here. When people observe my life, your life, they will say, you know what? Tell me what you've got because I want to have what you have. And then you just invite them to where you go. And then you grow together. Okay. I just put that out. No crystal yet. No crystal ball. But in the 10 years, I see the flourishing of about 5 churches that basically have your DNA. It's kind of like they're all passion models like you. They're P, okay, not F. Passion models. They're passionate about their love for Jesus and the exemplification of that character of Christ. Number 2, here. We are called to seriously ask the Lord how to leverage our resources by individually and corporately seeking Him in prayer. The reason why we are in such a prominent position, central location here at Lookout Drive, it's for a purpose. I know that we have to ask the Lord what this resource is for. Now, both corporately and individually. You have your jobs, I know, and you should understand that the only reason why you have your jobs, if you are a Christian, is because God wants for you to use your job or to leverage the advance of His kingdom. That's it. That's the ultimate purpose. That's it. So you will have to ask the Lord, Lord, these are my resources. I was just talking to a pastor in Manila, and guess what he told me? While we were driving, he told me, Pastor, I have good news. I said, what's the good news? Do you know that we just had an annual report and we have a surplus of 16 million? We are rejoicing. And I was just scratching my head. 16 million. I was just scratching my head and I would say to myself, if we have that surplus, 16 million, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to put it in time deposit and double it? Or put it in time deposit deposit or put it in some investment portfolio. I pray that that's not going to happen. I pray that we would go bend our knees and better ask the Lord where the 60 billion has to go, because it has to go. It has to go to advance the kingdom of God. We are not a company. We are not a corporation. And so pray. By the way, I've got good news for you. Our surplus is picking up. And so that's good news, because it means that looks like we have a shot for the next BCC church plant. And if you are faithful and you will advance in your faithfulness, maybe we will have 16 satellites in 20 years. Do you want to be part of that vision? This is going to be your sons. This is going to be your grandchildren. They will be the recipients of the spiritual blessing. We are basically building the foundation and preparing for a major welcome of the Lord, because He's soon to come. And we're preparing the young ones, people. Let's not lose this battle here. We are reclaiming the land for Jesus. So that's it. Pray for your resources. How do you pray? Individually. And last Wednesday, Pastor Robert, we had a most intimate time.
Yes.
At the prayer meeting. There were only 6 people on the first Wednesday of January. Well, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, it rocks. Yeah. But it's not good. So I'm challenging you. I know you're hardworking. But may I challenge you kindly? Would you please incorporate in your monthly calendar, if you can please bless us by attending one prayer meeting a month, just once. Include it in your calendar and say, okay, I'm going to earmark the second Wednesday, I'm going to attend the 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Wednesday corporate prayer meeting at the Biblical Community Church. It happens every Wednesday. If you can attend only once a month, that's going to be spectacular. Because do you know that there's a big difference between individual and corporate prayer? If my people, which are called by my name, are gathered together and they pray together, I will work wonders. And I've seen it happen. So we need your knee support on Wednesdays. I'm not asking that you come every Wednesday, but if you can earmark one Wednesday every month and promise the Lord, I'll be on my knees with God's people on this particular Wednesday once a month, please do so. And you'll see the dividends, the spiritual dividends happen. Will you? That's number 2. And number 3, we are called to equip our membership with proper care to stimulate growth in love. We are now in a major move. We call it midlife. And midlife is this. We build the theological base of what we believe. And we proclaim that by way not only of articulating it clearly, but actually demonstrating it in our lives. So we're standing on theological truths, truths about God. We're not swerving. We're not guessing what we believe. It's the Word of God that we're standing on. And then we're articulating that, declaring it and proclaiming it. That's when we witness, that's where we share. But in order for that to be steady, we are standing always in the middle. Someone is mentoring us, and we are mentoring someone. More often than not, the person who's mentoring us is more mature spiritually, not necessarily by age. And then we're mentoring someone younger than us. That is midlife. It's not crisis, but it's the life that we live here at the Biblical Community Church. So, we have to sustain that. We are called to equip our membership to nurture and sustain that. And that's the proper way. If we are that kind of people, then we can actively witness and go out and bring the lost because of the life that we live. Transitioning, in order for that to be logistically not merely a figment of our imagination, we have welcomed into our staff a person who will help us out. making sure that we concentrate on what matters most, which is what we believe, the in-placing of a major discipleship push. But in order for a major discipleship push to be in place in our church, the administrative aspect should be well covered. And so this morning is a special morning because we welcome into our staff and install our new administrative pastor.